thing that I'm curious what you think about. So you ready?
I'm curious as to when my butt hit my mouse and turned off the recording.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I just looked over. I was like, "How long have we been recording?" And it says 0000000, and I was like, "Boy, we've definitely been talking longer than that." And I don't. I know I
And
did hit.
confirm.
I know I did hit start record. So I know that means at some point in time, like if I was shifting or moving over, I had to have hit the mouse. The mouse just happened to be over the start and stop record button, and it. So I'm moving that real quick. We are now recording, by the way. So
Oh,
we're 48 seconds in. Good job. We've done well.
well, what are we like starting over? Like what do we?
I'm
Oh
leaving this in so people.
God.
Yeah, oh god. Oh man. I swear. Oh, this has been the hardest. I don't know why. This has been so hard. You know what? Yes. No, I'm leaving this in. I'm switching back over to our beginning. I'm turning on the music, and we're going to let everybody get what. Fresh start, everyone. Fresh start. We're starting the podcast. Here it is. And let me hit play. You're going to hear the music. You can't even hear it. And I appreciate jumping in with us.
Till my shadow turns to sun rays, and on we'll go through the wastelands, through the
All right.
highways.
There we are. Now we're back. Wow, it's a whole new podcast. Welcome back to a podcast that we definitely haven't tried to record this opening 2 other times before this, and I have somehow figured out how to screw it up twice. Part of being fat, I guess, is that my ass just hits stuff. I don't know what happens. But Ply's not here. Bad internet. I'm just giving you the summary. Here's Placebo. Yay, we love Placebo. And we're gonna talk about things. And Placebo was talking about AI. Go, Placebo. Oh no, you started talking about students.
Am I telling the
Tell it.
story
Yeah,
once?
I'm
All
gonna go
right.
pee, and
All
you can
right.
tell everybody the story while I pee.
All right. Let me see here. So we had a professional develop. God, it sounds like I feel like I told this story yesterday. It's been so long that we've been sitting here talking. Um, all right. We had a professional development thing at my school that I work at, right? I'm a high school social studies teacher. The social studies teachers were in charge of leading that little organized committee. So it was talking about an issue at our school. We did standardized testing. We did MAP testing, it's called. And we found that in math and English, the kids, first, they do fine at regurgitating information, right? So you can tell them 2 plus 2 equals 4, and then they'll be able to write on the test, ah, yes, this is 4. But if you ask them to sort of abstractly create from not much, they really struggle to do that. So, for example, I ask in my class a question. We talked about the American principles, right? And one of the American principles that we talked about was equality of opportunity and not necessarily equality of outcome, right? That's what we care about. And so one of the questions I ask is, do you think that we are correct to be so focused on equality of opportunity, or should we instead focus on equality of outcome? And what I noticed is many of my kids were struggling with that, right? They really can't, from their own brain, develop a position of clear and consistent thought. And so that abstract, and that's not just my students, that's school wide. We had that issue. And so the development committee that we went on was intent to figure out a solution to it. Um, and a lot of us pointed to the fact that those who struggle with it but can do it, it seems obvious that the right thing to do is to just give them increasingly difficult things for practice, right? You start with things they can do, and then you go a little bit further, and you just practice them through. But what I've found is there's a lot of them that can't get off the starting line, right? There's nothing to pull them forward. They refuse to try, um, and it was also said that on this standardized testing, guessing was up 20%. That was made to seem like it was a grand, like, oh, thank God, these are not indicative scores because the students guessed. But I think that's a huge issue. And so I said, I think a lot of what's causing that is not necessarily fatigue, like they made it seem like it was the students are getting tired through the test. And I said, well, when I sent an email to assistant principal saying, here's the recap of what we talked about. One, we don't think that it's necessarily fatigue. We think it could just be apathy, right? Because how can you tell whether I'm guessing because I'm tired and don't want to do it or because I just don't care, right? It's hard to make the distinction. And when I looked around the school, I didn't see many students that were fatigued. I saw a lot of students that were apathetic, right? So that was the first point. Um, Second point was that thought there were a few things we could do better to address the apathy issue. First up, we should make sure the kids are aware of and can see the benefit of schoolwork. Right, there's carrot and there's stick, so we can improve both sides. We improve the carrot by, I think, taking them to really good colleges and really bad colleges, and seeing where do you want to end up, right? Um, and then I also said there needs to be consequences that actually matter to the students. We only have a few. We have lunch detention, where they sit inside for lunch, which is practically nothing. And we have out of school suspension, where they get an extra day at home. And then when they come back, we have to give them an extra day for their work, right? So neither of those actually deter any sort of behavior. And I sent a link to an article that I really like that explains how you kind of need some level of punishment or fear for cooperation to take place, right? So they did a game with several people where they gave them some money, and you could either take the money or put the money into a pool that got doubled and distributed to everyone. So obviously the best thing for everyone to do is everyone puts their money in, it gets doubled, distributed to everyone, everyone gets $10 instead of $5, right? But some people, if I keep my $5 and everyone else does that, well then I get more, I get even more.
Mm-hmm.
And so without any sort of punishment, what they found is the people were less and less willing to put into the communal pile over time. But the minute you changed the system and you said now you can choose to spend some of your money to put it into a different pool that punishes those who do not cooperate, what they found is instead of the system declining in cooperation, the minute that punishment showed up, it increased dramatically, right? It shot up to 70% and continued to go higher and higher and higher. So punishment is a necessary part of what we are doing, right? Yes, we love the kids. Yes, we want them to do well. Yes, we want to just talk to them like reasonable human beings so that they can see what's right and wrong. But it doesn't work that well with sixth graders all of the
Right.
time, right? It's almost impossible to only have that. So if it's not going to be respect, it's going to have to be a little fear, right? And so I,
Right.
I sent an email saying that that was um, the way we should do things. Um, and I got a response that was an AI message, right? An AI synthesized.
Oh wait, I forgot. I
Uh,
gotta pretend like. No way! I haven't heard this
right.
before.
Yes.
That's crazy. Someone would send AI to respond message to you.
So I'll read the line that's like clearly like
Yeah.
you guys will know it's AI, but preacher. I also found several key takeaways from the article you shared to be particularly resonant, especially regarding how reciprocity plays a powerful role in shaping learning environments. The authors are quite intentional about defining reciprocity as kindness for kindness. Come on. A human wrote that? No, 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 no. That is straight out of AI, right?
Yeah.
There's a bullet pointed list under it about takeaways from the article that I sent. You're telling me a human synthesized this?
Right.
No. And I was deeply bothered by the fact that I sent an email in effort to help the community, to help the school, to help us grow, and what I got back was sort of shrugging it off with AI to do so, right?
Mm.
Um, so that was our first little talking point that we had. Um, that who knows if you'll get to hear? Who knows?
Now this time it's recording. They actually get to hear this time. Yeah. No, and I can't remember what I said last time, but I do know that I was like, yeah, it. I think that is a. I think we talked about the real problem there is the separation between humans connecting with each other, and like how we are more when people more and more rely on AI to do their communication and their work for them. What it's doing is it's instead of, I mean, you're seeing this with social media already, how that is causing a separation between concepts and human connectivity, and it's causing more extremism because people can create these, you know, super versions of who they're disagreeing with. So if you disagree, you must be evil. You must be a, you know, people Nazi, you know, right? You're a Nazi, or you're a pure communist because you disagree with this. So therefore you think this, instead of realizing, oh, you're a normal human being who could be kind and I would actually like otherwise. We just disagree on this concept or how this works. And it takes away that just natural built-in
Yeah.
ability to connect through humanity and recognize someone else's humanity and be empathetic towards them. And so it's kind of what, I mean, I think you said something about that's what you kind of felt was off-putting about this, was that they just kind of didn't even bother to want to connect to you to even say, like, you would have preferred them to say, hey, listen, I'm busy, I don't have time to read a whole study.
Yeah.
I appreciate what you're saying, but you know, so on and so forth. That would have been better for you than them
No problem.
giving you a AI generated response.
Right. And it's almost like you're trying to get one over on me to some degree.
Yeah.
Like you're trying to fool me.
Yeah, that is a little offensive that they think
you know?
that you wouldn't recognize that was an AI. Like, that's a little bit like,
Yeah.
really? You think that? You think I'm that that bad? I don't know. I mean,
Don't make me do the Zizek thing again. It was the best part of the recording, but I hope we still have it. Why, preacher, have you ever heard of this Slovenian philosopher?
No,
You've never
seems
heard of him?
familiar, but let me look him up on my phone.
Yes, please look up Zizek, right? Zizek.
Oh, he's actually still on my phone from when I looked him up the last time. Wow, he looks like a philosopher. Very pouty face and crazy hair
And
in every
messy,
picture.
and messy, yes,
very messy,
yes.
just like every picture.
So preacher joked that because I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what I should, because I'm sitting on this email and I don't know what to do about it. Preacher joked, you should send an AI response. Right? You should get AI to send a response. And it made me think of this amazing argument from Zizek that is the dude, if you've never seen him, is like, he definitely has had cocaine addiction in his life. I mean, he's always talking like this about what he's talking about. And he says in his argument, his perfect date is what he's talking about. And that's sort of what this AI responding to AI makes me think of. He says, my perfect date is we get together and I bring my pocket pussy and she bring her electric plug-in dildo, and we go to the bedroom and we set them up to do their thing, and then we go and we engage in literature and we drink wine and we watch fine movies and TV, and we can have an interaction because there's no sexual tension because we know it's being dealt with. And it's like, that's sort of what I view with this AI talking to AI.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, me and the assistant principal are sort of on the sideline, like not even being involved in it at all.
Yeah.
And it's just the total detachment from what was originally an honest effort to
I think it was
improve the
said
situation.
the AI is having the conversation, but you're not. Like, like it's talking to each other, and you guys have no real even part in it.
Yeah.
And there's no understanding developed. I mean, I wonder how that would work. Like, in reality, like, both of you would think that you had reached a conclusion, I guess. I don't. Oh, yeah, no, they agree with me.
It
Like,
can't be. Unless you're an idiot, you cannot believe.
Yeah.
You know, you must see beyond the veneer that you are putting up, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know that you're merely deflecting. I don't know, man.
yeah. And then that guy's talking about AI and how it can be impacting society a bit. I brought up, like, there was a study by some AI group. Again, it's one of those think tanks. They can be wrong, they can be right. They're just out there throwing out theories. But it was talking about how, like, towards the middle, the end part of this year, AI will start to get close to reaching human comprehension and the ability to like process information the way a human does, and it will start to kind of creep in on some jobs by the end of 2026, or but no, by the start of 2026, it will have reached like full human capacity, maybe even superhuman capacity. It'll start taking over programming jobs. By the end of 2026, it's almost completely taken over that, and then by 2027, it's superhuman. It's surpassed what we can do. Humans will have to go find something else to provide purpose and meaning, and especially in like the fields like programming and stuff that like it's just a matter of putting code together. Um, and then I can't remember what else. I do remember they talked about like governments will start. That's basically the new missile, the missile crisis. The new arms race will be getting the strongest AI to trick the other people, to outdo the other AI, to whether it's produce fake propaganda or send missiles more accurately, whatever it is. That will be like what the governments are striving to beat each other out for. I don't know how, I mean, that's in a year and a half. They think AI is almost going to be out of our control. That was the other part, is like we would start getting to the point where we don't know if we can control it, and it's starting to, be self-sufficient and try to stay alive itself and that kind of thing. Like,
And we generally agreed that AI is very, very dangerous as it grows further and further.
yeah,
Um, and that now you've been caught up in what is that, 7 or 8 minutes on our
yeah.
last little
What took
like
us like 45 minutes? Yeah, 50 minutes, something like
yes,
that.
yes.
We basically summarized the
Uh,
whole thing. We did
yeah,
talk about kind of like what would people, how would we have purpose if we weren't if all of our work got completely replaced?
yeah,
Like, how would humans fulfill that innate need to feel like they're improving or they're making progress,
yeah.
they're doing something? Like, how would that work?
Well, I said I think there are things that are worth striving towards, right? Like, for example, when I'm writing my screenplay, I'm learning more and more. It's sort of an analysis of my own soul, right? The characters within the story are many different aspects of me,
Mm-hmm.
um, and it really is an internal thing that is worth striving for, independently
Yeah,
of whatever the outcome of me doing it is, void of my own knowledge, right? And that's something AI can't do. AI can't introspect for me. AI
yeah.
can't look within myself. And so I think that there are some things that are worth striving for, that people could latch onto, but Preacher made the point that not everyone would, right?
A question.
Certainly,
I would even go, maybe a majority of people would not. They might go the way of the Kardashian. Is kind of
yes.
what I was aiming at, and I think that, I mean, I think that even proves out a little bit out of what has already happened with modern social media and how the Kardashians have already impacted how people perceive themselves, how they act, what they
Yeah.
value. You already see people like kind of focusing more on, do you have the Gucci bag, and these shallow, not meaningful things that people will focus on. Um, and so yeah, I think, man, I wonder if that you do get two classes of people. You get just like the vapid. I think I made it like the city inside of Hunger Games, like how those people were just focused on like the most vapid. Do I have purple hair? They don't really have a process of connecting themselves to humanity. And then you would have like philosophers and thinkers who they do take the time to. That's what they spend all their time on, is introspection and thinking. But I don't know, the way humanity works, I almost feel like the thinkers will get silenced or will get ran out of town by the
Yeah.
non-thinkers, who, if the thinkers say, hey, we gotta start thinking about ourselves, and they go, no, I like being brain dead and just partying every night, and
My favorite part of Plato's allegory of the cave is the fact that when the guy who's been chained up with his buddies, staring at the wall, watching the little images that he believes are real, when he gets freed, what does he do immediately? Well, he just wants to stay there. He doesn't want to go, right?
Uh-huh.
Someone has to drag him, kicking and screaming, out of the cave into the light of truth, right? I've always thought that that's I mean, for that
Yeah.
picture to be painted at Plato's time, I think there must be an element of human nature within that.
No, I
For
agree.
it to have been relevant then and now,
Mm-hmm.
it must just be the human element to that comfort is something worth having.
I
Um,
mean, that's the whole Nero thing, right? Like the Roman society got so like pleasure centered, where it was just
yeah,
orgies and they had vomitoriums where if you couldn't eat anymore, you would go and then throw up in the vomitorium so that you could go back and eat more. And it wasn't even about nutrition; it was just about getting the experience more, more, more.
yeah,
So I do think there's something there, and I mean to do apply. This is apply. You got like the Matrix, right? That was kind of the idea. He had the red pill, the blue pill, and a lot of
yeah,
people would choose. You know what? Like it's like, hey, this world is fake. Do you want to know what real, or do you like being in this comfortable fake world? And
yeah,
a bunch of people fought back and wanted to be in the fake world. It's they didn't want the just like the cave. It's the same kind of
yeah.
concept. Um, so yeah, I
Dude,
don't. It's interesting.
insanity is gripping me in the fact that we have lost the previous discussion. It is my
Oh, I agree.
soul is enraptured
It
by
makes me sad to
the,
listen. I
the lamentations that I
I want
feel
the
in my
audience to know that
heart.
we had a good, deep conversation, but it is just really hard to replicate, everything that we
Yeah,
thought without some, especially for us because we do that anyway. We are get the important parts out unless we're in the process of thinking our way through. Me and you both are like, let's just get the let's
yeah.
we've processed this. Let's make it digestible and toss it out. Um, I
You ready
guess
for topic number two? You
yeah.
want to
Now
just
now we
fuck it?
now
We go
now
on.
we need topic number 2. Yeah, we're only 21
Yeah,
minutes in. Now we need it.
fuck it. We go next.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. A more personal topic than the last one, but you guys don't know that. um, I have experienced something that I'm trying to figure out. All right. So I've I've been talking to, going on dates with 3 women in the last 4 months, right? Um, not at the same time, right? Like one, then two, then three, all right?
Pimp
Um,
daddy over here. All right.
nope, nope. So that's part of the problem here is it's
I'm gonna,
not.
I'm gonna send you a big
um,
old brimmed hat with a feather in it and everything. Maybe a
all right,
cane.
so
Go ahead. Sorry.
first one, right? We go out just for coffee,
Mm-hmm.
and she's sitting there, and we're talking for like 9 hours, right? Legitimately 9 hours at a coffee shop. We're talking. We go out on hikes, right? We're having a good time. We're going on great dates, and I'm basically feeling really good about it. It's going really well. Not one sign that it's not, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then I get the response, "Hey, really need to focus on my work. Don't want to continue pursuing this, right? Don't want anything serious, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I want something serious, so see ya. That's fine. Okay. Um, second, talking to this girl, it's going very, very well. We go on a date. It's fantastic, right? Partway through the day, I'm like, hey, do you want to stay and talk or do you want to go? Right? It's no problem. We can bounce. And she's like, oh, we can stay. We can keep talking, right? It's going really well, so on. And she's into it. And then out of nowhere, nothing. Third one, right? Um, hanging out. We're going on dates. It's going very, very well. And then, hey, I've got a lot of other stuff going on right now, and I can't focus on this. Blah blah blah. Now I don't. I think the obvious thing to say is, um, it didn't work out well in their eyes just because it worked out well in your eyes, right? Um, but in all 3 cases, like they pushed for more time together, right? And they wanted to hang out. They wanted to do stuff, and yet in all 3 cases they chose the other extraneous stuff going on in their lives,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I don't know what to make of that, right? Because I cannot believe
Does
that
that include the
they
one
just
you've been just recently?
yes, yes. Literally, I woke up to a text like 2 days ago that was like, "Hey, let me see here. Hey, sorry to text you so late. You asked me to be honest, and I want to respect that by not leading you on or wasting your time. Um, I need to take a step back for my own well-being and out of respect for you. The truth is I've got a lot going on right now and I'm realizing I jumped into something without really checking in with myself about whether I'm ready, and the truth is I'm not, blah blah blah, right? Choosing others. And it's not true. If Mr. Perfect walks through the door, you're going to make time, right? You're going to make time for what you want to make time for.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't help but wonder if in these three cases, uh, we've damaged like what dating is, like um,
I've seen some
the
conversations talk about this. Actually, go ahead, keep going, keep going.
we just can't we can't engage in it at all because you need to focus on like a career and
Mm-hmm.
law school or other stuff like that, right? And
It's like you have to be
um,
obsessed over, like you can't be, you couldn't do both at once. It's like, oh, I've got to be obsessed
right,
about this, and then otherwise it has to
right.
be,
And
yeah,
I don't know what to make of it. Like I cannot. I have a good job, right? I'm well taken care of. I go to the gym all the time, right? It's not possible that all three of them are like, yeah, I can do way better. It's just not possible.
yeah. I don't, boy, I don't know, because I mean, we've talked about this. We're like, there's so many studies out there that show that where women assess themselves compared to like who they think that they like, where they rate
Yeah.
themselves and who they think is an even platform with themselves
Hmm.
is off compared to where guys tend to be very close on ranking themselves close to who they're like willing to
Yeah.
date, or
Yeah.
if they know that they're dating someone who's above them, they're like, oh no, I'm swinging above my weight class.
Right.
Like they're fully aware that she's hottie
Right.
and I am me. I'm a 6.5. You know.
Right.
Um, Whereas women tend to like sixes and sevens tend to believe they're in the
Yeah.
8.5 to 9.5 range, you know.
Yeah.
And so I do wonder how much of that, and I do think that modern dating culture or modern romantic culture has taught, it's almost like so much of romantic comedies and books and all that present almost this like, if you just wait long enough, Mr. Perfect, who is a 10 out of 10 and loves
Right.
only you and only the things, you know, they're out there, and they, instead of the realistic, which is like nobody's going to be perfect, you're going to have to work at it, and the chances are what makes a happy relationship is you choosing to be happy in that relationship. It's not going to
Yeah.
be a you know, it's, there's just the 25-year-old 100 millionaire who, you know, is chiseled and has, and all they want to do is spend time. Whenever you have time, whenever you're free, they have time for you, right? And they're just upset like that person, they don't exist, you know.
Yeah. And
So
even if they did, that would be so boring. That would be so
right.
so just uninteresting.
No, I do think there is something, especially in like Western countries, I think more than anywhere else, something very broken with how we are dealing with relationships, how
Yeah.
we see gender. I think part of it is that our gender roles have been upended completely, so we don't respect what each like we don't want someone who's a polar opposite to
Mhm.
fill in the gaps that we have in our lives. We instead want almost someone who reflects back to us what we, you know.
Yeah.
You always hear, I know it used to be a big thing back when I was younger and in the dating scene before I gave up on women. No. Um, but they always, you know, it's like if there's a gay guy, like, oh, why do you just have to be gay? You know, and there's like, what they want
Right,
is a
right.
woman who thinks like a woman, acts like a woman, but then wants to have sex with them, right? And has a penis. That's what they, is like, that doesn't, that's not how it works, you know. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
It's,
I'm
yeah,
trying to
it's a
get
weird.
feedback because like I really believe the world gives you feedback and
Mm-hmm.
you gotta take it, right? But the feedback I'm getting from this, I think the easy thing to say is that I was not good enough for them, right? And they determined that my value was lesser than the other stuff, right? Um,
Or I mean, do
but I'm
you
telling you that's
100% know that's
crazy.
honest? Do you think that that is
No, that's what I mean.
100%
I
honest?
don't think that's the actual
Yeah.
outcome, right? Like when I look around, I'm like, I I am not prime Brad Pitt, right? I'm not, but I'm doing pretty fucking all right for
Yeah.
myself,
And they
right?
aren't Angelina Jolie, you know. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right. they're very attractive, right? I think I'm okay, you
Yeah.
know? And so I don't see it being the case that all three were like, no, his value here, this other value. I think that they are brainwashed by a culture that tells them weird things about pursuing their own
Yeah.
interests. Um,
Well, yeah, a lot of people think that they have to like give right, like the whole concept behind. I mean, I'm trying to not get into too dangerous waters, but let's just say abortion, right? Because a lot of they're like, I can't have a child; it'll ruin my whole life. Even though there's women who have went through the entire business process and become CEOs, have been able to do both. But there's something we've been lied to or tricked into thinking that if you can't just obsess and go 14 hours a day about
Yeah.
your job, there's no way you can succeed, or that
yeah.
becoming a significant other or a wife and a mother somehow just like completely sabotages your entire life, and there's no way you can ever recover. And I do wonder when that started, that the idea, or that it is less. If someone does choose to be a stay-at-home wife and a mother, and like that is their calling, that's somehow like a lesser calling because it's not generating income. But it's like,
Yeah.
no, but you're raising like an entire generation of
Yeah, it's a big
people,
deal.
and you're stabilizing society. Like literally, mothers help stabilize society, and it is a huge, like that's a bigger impact than just another CEO or another actress or another whatever
Yeah,
job.
it's a
It's
really
like
big
there's a
deal.
billion other people doing that job, and I don't know that necessarily is even that impressive compared to what the influence and power that being a state, and the same thing for fathers, right? Like dads bang and go do whatever, and they leave a
Yeah.
trail of children and broken women behind them, and it's because a similar societal lie. So it's not just women. I think both sides have been deeply lied to, and
Yeah.
you can almost
So
blame. I mean, Hollywood.
what's to be done? What's to be done about modern dating culture, right? Like, how do I
Take
find
out
me a
your
woman?
penis
Preacher,
and you
find me a
flop
woman.
it on the table, and you say,
Find-
"There it is. Take it
Find
or
me a
leave
woman
it."
right now.
You want this sweaty hog?
The hall.
The hog. Oh man, I wish people knew about the whole story behind. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I know I have to pee again really bad. You tell me what you think. Well, I promise I'll be back in like.
Dude, I don't know, man. I got nothing on this one, right? Like, clearly my take is not it, right? I've tried going 3 times here in the last few months, and it's not worked out any time. So what the hell do I know? I need your sage wisdom, Professor. Professor, I need you because I truly do not know. Um, I mean, in the past there have been women that were looking for, and I'm not saying that only women are like this. I think men do this too. Um, I think it's really bad to get into a relationship looking for a savior instead of a partner, right? Um, and I think a lot of people do that. A lot of people are like, "Oh, here's my trauma. Here's all the shit that's wrong with me. Here's every little problem that I have, and you're gonna need to carry that weight. Cool, great. I'll have sex with you." Right? And it's like that's a really bad
It's a
system.
trade-off.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's much better to go in with a partnership mentality. But in all three of these instances, we established that from the get-go,
Yeah.
right? Yet we're looking for partnership mentality. It's going really well, going really well, going really well, and then they choose the extraneous thing spontaneously. Um,
I mean,
I
it is
don't know.
weird that they do pursue with you. Sorry, I'm wiping off the
Yeah.
shininess off my forehead. It's annoying me.
4 hours before I got that, hey, blah, blah, blah text, I was like, hey, do you want to go get dinner? Do you want to, there's a concert at the school in a few weeks. Do you want to be my plus one? And she's like, yeah, let's do all of that. That sounds great.
Yeah.
And
It's
4 hours
weird.
later, hey, right? It's like, what the fuck happened?
Why is it?
Man.
Yeah, it's like a switch gets flipped or something.
Right. But 3 times.
3 times.
3 times.
I'm trying to think. What about? I don't know that. I mean, of course, I'm not there for conversations, right? So I
Yeah.
don't know.
No, but do you trust my judgment?
For the most part,
Yeah.
yes. I would say. I mean, as much as I trust I don't trust even myself,
Sure.
like completely to be fully like
Sure.
But yes, as much as I do anybody, yes, I very much trust you to at least
first
try to be introspective and look and go, okay, what's going on here?
we wouldn't have been there for 9 hours
Right.
if the conversation wasn't.
If it was
flowing,
if it
right?
was off from the beginning, yes. If there wasn't
Right.
some
We
enjoyment
wouldn't
of,
have been there for 9 hours.
yeah,
And the other times, both times, they pushed for more time for us to hang out. They must have been enjoying the conversation to some degree, right?
right.
And it's witty, it's back and forth, right? We're feeling things out, right? It's fun at the same time, and then we switch into a more serious, like talking about each other, and it's just it's a flowing good conversation every time.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible that they're sitting there in the back of their minds going, God, this guy's boring as hell?
Or yeah, like I'm not sure about him, but I'll keep playing just to see if it, it's possible. I mean, there is a possibility
Yeah.
that people just aren't upfront honest. They're kind of like, well, let's see where this, there's some
Yeah.
good aspects, there's some bad aspects. I mean, maybe you're too thoughtful. Some people don't like a guy who they want to.
Sure.
I'm gonna go and wrestle me some cows, and that's all I got. And you're a thinker, and that
Sure.
can be. And
Then
you're
why
also
set up
not a
the
shit
other
taker.
traits?
Right? Like you will
Yeah.
call out shit when you're like, that's not true. Or
Yeah.
whatever, you're very straightforward with that, which I appreciate and I think that's a good quality, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who don't like that, especially, today's
man.
society, I think it's almost like you're supposed to just sit there and take it or something. I don't know. Instead of
It
letting
does seem like that, doesn't it?
Yeah. Like there's an
I'm
expectation
quite
that, like,
often the bad guy.
yeah. I mean, of course, that's just, I guess I'm wondering if we have messed up, like maybe 3 attempts that don't work out pretty quick. That's just how dating works. And you got to just keep plugging away, and eventually you get one. And
So what's the feedback that I should take from it? I guess is the what is the
right.
what's
I
the
mean,
lesson
I don't know.
we
I
learned?
keep trying. I don't, I don't know if there is. Maybe it's just that they really weren't
Yeah.
clicking, and I mean, not to the degree that it seemed like they were. Maybe they weren't presenting.
Sure.
Or, you're at an age where I think you're partially right. You're at an age where if you date down, there's still women who think that they have to take over the world, right? They got to conquer the world.
Yeah.
And you start pushing for a serious relationship, and all of a sudden they're like, never mind. I thought I wanted that, but now I don't. Or
But
it's
it's
very
so crazy.
possible that somebody else did somehow. I don't know. Because everything you've told me about how you go to their churches and you try to
Yeah.
you're not going there coughing on them or anything like that. But no, you go and you try to experience and be open minded and you're willing to give of yourself and your time and it's that's I don't know. It could just be bad luck. I mean that is I don't know if 3 is a big enough sample size to be like it's definitely something you're doing. Or if it's just
Sure.
freakishly bad. I mean, because 3 in the dating scene is, and you're in a certain, geographical area. So it's possible that that's kind of the vibe in that area. And that's just
Yeah.
people who grow up there have certain, takes. And that's just how it, I don't know. Listen, you're asking a guy who has, I don't want to say I've given up on dating, but I've, my belief that it's, of course, there's
Yeah.
a big part of it is me because I know the type of woman I would want to be with, and the status of someone that I would want to date. It's not. I don't care if you have money. That it's just more of like who you are as a person, your attractiveness,
Yeah.
but also like the kind of person you are. And I'm like, I need to fix myself more before I'm ready to start approaching the women that I know that I would be happy with.
Right.
Right. Because I just don't think I'm right now. I can't offer an equal trade. And so I'm just smart enough that I'm like, there's no point.
Right.
I do worry. Here's one thing that I worry about for myself is that I have been more or less single for so long that I've gotten comfortable in it, and would be very difficult for me to adjust to having to include other people in my thought process and my planning and how my life works out. Just it's like, wow, that would be such a I know that it would be I know that I would probably enjoy it once I finally broke through and got it back into that mindset. Because I used to be very into dating, and I was very I was carrying good guy, which is part of the problem, right? I see online people talk about that all the time, that like women claim they want this kind, caring, nurturing man, and then those kind of guys who actually are like that just get destroyed.
Yeah,
And
I don't
it's like the badass, I guess you're here, whatever, babe. Those kind of guys are the ones who end up having women just like throw themselves and stay attached. And
Sure.
and so it's like,
I do think to some degree the I mean, I've dated a few girls that are too kind, too caring, too giving, and it's like, man, you must really not think you have value to be such a like, to be honest, like a servant or a slave to me, right? Like I've done nothing to warrant this, right?
hmm.
Um, and I don't know. I think it's important both sides know the other has pull, right?
Yeah.
Like you
See,
got to
for
be on
me,
your best behavior.
I've always wanted, what I want in a relationship is I will give of myself to you, but I want to know that that's
Yeah.
going to be reciprocated. I want us
Yeah.
both to have the other person's best interest be our priority. And that's how I think a
Yeah.
relationship works best, is if you're genuinely going, I'm taking you into consideration, but you know that they're doing the same. They're not taking it and not giving it back. I think both parties
Yeah.
kind of, you are equal in that aspect.
I heard a description of it that's like a relationship works best when of the two parties, one puts in 60%, one puts in 40%, but each is trying to be the 60, right?
Yeah.
I think that's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Um,
I can see what I get that. Yeah. Boy, that is a tough, and I mean, now you are seeing a large amount. I was trying to think of a single word that would do that, but a large amount of women who are waiting much later in life to start even thinking about getting serious. And I think maybe even for men too. But it's more because
But
men
I
have
do
to
think
wait
there's
until they're
something-
in their 30s and 40s before they have reached a certain level of life accomplishment or whatever.
And I
before-
think that's crazy, right? Like I think that's also going on is someone pointed it out to me. The Reacher show, right? With Alan Richardson, right? Apparently, the way it works, and I've not seen it, is he does not pursue these women, but these women just throw themselves at him because he is so capable, so confident, and so built, right?
Right.
And so I think the thing is we're portraying this image of masculinity that is no longer go out and hunt the thing you want, but instead be so good that you lure it to you, right? And so
That's
all of
interesting,
the effort from men, I think this is why you have so many roid
Yeah.
rage dads, right? Like
Yeah.
so many like 50, 60, 40-year-olds just roided up, just huge, right? To lay the bait, right? Instead of going out and to hunt things down.
Well,
I
just
think that's why I
recently,
think we should-
Shannon Sharp, or no, I'm sorry. Shannon Sharp, who was an ESPN analysis.
Yep, I know him.
So he got in a bunch of trouble because one of his former aides.
That's Facebook Live.
Oh no, there's another one. That was one, but he kind of got it through that. Just recently, one of his aides claimed that he like choked her, and that he took some advances too far. And what people were saying was like he kind of put himself in a little bit of that situation because he is older than I am. I think he's. I don't know.
He's an
exactly.
older guy.
Yeah, he's an older man, but he's super fit, super buff, and he's
Yeah.
banging 19-year-olds, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are like, I mean, part of me understands it because a lot of times to get women who are attractive and are in that prime physical peak, you have to be at a certain level of status and physical, and like it may take
Yeah,
you
you need the
to your
evidence.
30s and your 40s till
Yeah.
you can. And so it's like, and then by the time women are interested in you, if you're not like that, they have to have been through they have to have
Right.
been turned down multiple times, and now they are starting to like. It's a weird state where men have to have a almost unrealistic set of expectation of achievement at a super early age
Right.
in order to date people who are what they want at that age. There's no like, hey, let's get together and then we're going to grow together, and
Right.
I'm going to
Right.
achieve more later, and then as I get better, but we'll have that connection and you'll be the mother of my children, so I'm not going to trade you in for a hotter new model because we have that emotional connection. It's like both sides are kind of playing it really weird. So, but you know,
Yeah.
by the time, I don't know, it's gotten problematic. Like the U.S.,
I think
God,
it's
there's
really bad.
almost all Western countries are having like a serious. It's actually people are talking about population growth. It's the opposite. We're having a serious depopulation issue.
Yeah.
That like I know Korea, like they've got like 2 generations or something, 3 generations, and they'll be like done.
95% death rate.
Yeah, it's like
95%,
they're not even going to exist. Like if they don't start creating more children, like the South Korean culture, or even I'm probably North Korean too, but the Korean culture is just going to be gone because they're
for every 100 grandparents, there will be 5 grandkids.
Yeah.
That's it.
and it's like you can't. That's not sustainable. Humanity will cease to exist, and it is because they have taken that one. That's an element of Western culture they've definitely applied, is a very high focus on finances and power,
Right.
and being certain level of success. So everybody's trying to do it, and then by the time you get to, I mean, people are getting married in their 40s and late 30s, and it's like there's not a whole lot of kids you can pop out that late anyway.
Yeah. And
Um,
there's also like weird men that hate women and women
Yeah.
that hate men, right? Like just the two sides just think the other is the problem. It's
Yeah.
bizarre. But there's a huge amount of that.
no, I agree. It's a lot of conflict, and well, that's where I think you start seeing a lot of these guys who are just like, get what you want out of the relationship, be a badass, and don't show them attention because women won't. I think it's a lot. What I think it is a lot of people who were really, really good early on, and they got fucked over by the self-centered people, and it just warped
Yeah.
them. And then they are like, "Fuck this! At least I can get something out of it. If I'm selfish, I get something out of it too, instead of."
Right.
And then it just kind of multiplies and multiplies, because then those guys are screwing over. Those men are screwing over women, and they become the women who screw over men, and it just
Right.
like
I mean, I've had countless guys to say, "Oh yeah, just play the field, and it's
Yeah.
like I don't want to do that. I don't
Yeah.
want to do that. I
same.
just don't want to.
I've never wanted, like, even when I was in college, I had God, man, when I was in college, dude, and I was fit and buff, and I mean, I was genuinely. I had cheerleaders, volleyball players, but I was too shy, and I was a super good Christian boy, so I was like, I just didn't,
Yeah.
And like I'd have them walk up to me in the gym and just start talking to me about like we're in there. Oh, that's a lot of weight. Oh my god, just total flirt.
Right.
Whew,
Right.
right over the head. Right. I was like, oh yeah, thanks. I work out hard, thanks. But I mean, it's like I didn't process it at all back then, and and I think that I'm like, man, I almost look back and I'm like, what if I would have been happy if I would have been less. If I would have been willing just to play the field, would I have ended up getting lucky and hitting on one of them? Like one of them would have
I don't
called,
know.
or would have just been, I would have fucked up my life and I'd have 3 kids and I'm,
Right.
working at a McDonald's as a, or on, farmer around here. I have no idea what I'd be. But, and maybe I've been happier that way. I mean, I think a lot of people may grow up and that's a happier life, So I don't know, but we
I don't know either. I mean,
it's
I
hard.
went through a somewhat similar thing in undergrad where I sort of, I mean, I'm 28 now. When I was 20, any woman that was like, "Hey, you want to get?" Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like, of course, let's do it. And so I did kind of like do that a bit, and it didn't end up. Before long, I ended up breaking up with people, just being like, you need to be something more than just a sex object, right? Like you
Mhm.
need to be something more than that, and that's all you are, and that's all this, and it's not good enough. So I guess I would say that if you are as thoughtful about things as I am, no, I suspect you would not have found joy and happiness from playing the field.
Yeah.
I would be inclined
It's
to say
funny.
that
The older I've
would
gotten, the
not.
more I'm like, no, because if I'm honest, I know I need more than that. But there is a part of me that's like, that is a primary element of a relationship with a woman for me now, would be the sex element, because
Yes,
I get intellectual conversation and stimulation from my friends.
right.
I get friendship, bonding. If something's really bad, I could always, it's like,
Mhm.
there's more of that element that I'm like, okay, I kind of understand. But there is a feminine element that is missing from other aspects that I think would be great too. And I do you think, let me ask you a question. I'm going to cut myself off. Do you think that women have almost started to fall into 2 camps now? And I think that's part of how society has almost forced them to shift into 2. One is they're almost not, they're almost cut off. They're almost like asexual, or like even if they get in a relationship, they have to completely control sex, and they never, it's like once a month, and they like to almost. It's almost like a power move to control the man by not giving them sex hardly ever. Or you have the opposite end, which is just the like, who knows what kind of diseases they have, or they just, it's all the time with everybody, no stops. There's no like. They've almost devalued the sex with them because it's so easy to get by anybody, and I wonder how that works. Like, what do you think?
I mean, I can't really speak to the first category, right? Because I really don't know on that one, right? But the second category, I can absolutely say there's a lot of those, right? The huge, I tell the girls at the high school, like, the reason the young men are acting the way they are, the reason that you do not have good options is because you do not say no to them every time. If they ask you 100 times and you say yes to them one time, they're never going to fucking change, right? If you say yes to them at all and give them at all what they want, they're going to continue to do what they are doing. And so when you have no good options because they are not treating you right, it's because you allow them to not treat you right while still allowing them to get what they want. Right? That's the problem. You do have the power to change that, but you need to say no every time until they act like you want them to act. And then you say yes.
Yeah,
Right?
but then is that not controlling? Because I think there's a lot of the other.
They need to be controlled. I think to some degree, men need to be controlled in that way, right?
I don't know, because see, I grew up in like
I
Christian
think it should go
circles
the
that
other
are
way
the
around
opposite.
too.
They
I think it
use
should go the other way
Jesus as an
around.
excuse to not fulfill like marital obligations, basically.
Which is bullshit, right?
Yeah.
Which is.
I agree, but I think I see you see once, because you've lived the life where you've been involved with those type of women, or you just as a teacher you see it because society's more like that, so you're involved. I was on the other end of the spectrum where I saw women who just were controlling. Yeah. And it wasn't controlling in a good way. It wasn't like, I'm going to make you be a good. It's controlling in how they thought a man, but it was warped. And so it was just always about them. And it just let them be self-centered, but feel justified in how narcissistic and self-centered they were. And it was a power-hungry move on their. It was the exact opposite of men who abuse women's bodies. It was like the women's version of that, except
Right.
it was the opposite.
I see. I do think there's something to be said about like I really believe it is absolutely vitally essential for a relationship for the man to desire sex with the woman physically and for the woman to desire sex with the man physically, right? Because if that's not the case, if one of the two parties does not desire the other one physically, that one gains a lot of power over the relationship and how things go, right? They gain an element of it. Whether it's woman or man, I think it just happens to usually be the women that do not desire it physically. But I think
See, I wonder how that works. See, here's the thing.
It breaks down like that.
Okay. I wonder if you can't understand, like, okay, so the men they will act in a very masculine way for the women, like what the women want. They want the guy to take them out to eat, pay, do the hard work, be the one that goes on top of the house and cleans out the gutter, all that kind of stuff, right? They want them to, but what the men really want is the sexual side of things. Could there not also be a trade-off where you just want you love your partner, so you're giving your partner something you know that will make them happy, even if you don't want to do it, even if it's not something you like, because there's a lot of stuff men do in relationships that they just do not like, right? But they do it because they'll make their partner happy. It's not about sex, but it just happens to be men value sex way up here, and women value other things that are up here, but it's a different thing. So could you not like make a trade-off like we do? It's a bartering system, if you will. Like, you want to see your person happy, so you're going to give them something that you know makes them gratified and happy, and that makes you feel happy. So, it's like, instead of making everyone suffer and beg for the thing that they need, you give them what that's what I guess what I was talking about earlier, where both people should be looking out for the other one's interests. And so that way, so sure, the woman's not into sex as much, but she's into something else the guy's not into. So he'll go shopping with her on weekends and be miserable, right? And just carry all the bags. Or instead of just be like, nah, babe, you go, I'm going to sit here and watch the game with the boys or whatever. Like, he will give of himself in elements that he doesn't want to, but she has to reciprocate that by giving in elements of things that maybe she's not particularly interested in and want to. So it kind of works that way too. Do you see what I'm saying? Like I wonder if that could
I
work
do,
out.
but I don't like that system. I do hear what you're saying. I really don't like that system. So I think over time, what you're going to see is in your example, the guy goes shopping with her. Eventually, he's going to be carrying the bags around like, oh, this is kind of miserable. I'm not enjoying it, blah, blah, blah. So then what do you think she's going to be like when she's having sex with him, right? She's
Hmm.
going to be like, oh, this is kind of not great, right? The other guy was bigger, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
right? Not really into it. And then we've got issues because typically when that happens, I do think
Everybody
men are
breaks
going to
off.
be like, this is really bad, right?
Yeah.
This is really bad. Um, uh, Second, I think sex should be something that is not in the barter system, right? I really do believe it is
Well, no, I'll agree with
something
that. Yeah.
different that
I wasn't talking. I guess you're right. I said bartering. That is the wrong term. I was thinking more of like you're giving it to the other person because you want them to be happy. So you. I don't think I disagree with you. I don't think the guy, if he really wants his wife to be happy, he's not going to be mopey about doing it. Like if he's genuinely looking out for, and she's
Agreed.
shopping and she's
Agreed.
happy, that makes him happy. Then he's not going to be mopey. And the same thing with sex. Even if she's not into it, but she wants the guy to be happy, then she will do things in a way that is like showing pleasure. And so I think it's more of like your heart is in the right place while doing these things. So yeah, I guess there is some. I see what you're saying. You won't be forced to do things that you don't want to do just because you want something out of it. It's more of like you're both doing something for the other person because you want to see them happy. And
I
if
guess
both of you have that option, then
it's hard for me to abstract to this scenario because for me the most enjoyable part of a sexual experience is knowing the other person is really enjoying it, right? Like th that is it stands above anything else that can be going on in the sexual experience. We can be doing stuff I've never done, blah blah, whatever. Um, that's all great. But the knowing that the other person is really into it is just
so you
so
don't
much
ever want
clearer of
blowjobs because
everything.
I'm telling you, women do. That's not a fun. They get no pleasure out of that, other than making you
I
happy.
don't
That's what I'm
believe you.
talking about.
I
No,
don't believe you. I don't
okay.
believe
How do
you.
they get sexual pleasure out of putting your penis in their mouth? How do they
Uh,
physically feel sexual pleasure out of that?
I don't know, but
They
I get
don't. They
sexual
don't.
pleasure out
They
of
don't.
eating a woman out. I do. I enjoy it. I mean, I because I can see how it's going for them,
Exactly.
and I
That's what I
and
was saying. No, you enjoy seeing them
you
have
mean
a
like
good
the
time.
physical stimulation.
Yes.
Yes,
Well,
so yes,
then
they
you're
don't get
you're
physical,
echoing what I'm saying then, because I'm saying what
but I don't
women
know,
would like
man.
out of it is that they see that you're having a good time with it, and also women and men
I
have
guess I'm
different
confused
brains,
about what your
right?
argument is.
Women and men have different brains, so things that women would like out of it, you may like it because you're just a horny guy and you can look at porn and get off. Whereas sometimes women can't do that. Need that emotional. They need that close. They need something different out of it. And so I think you also have to include how our brains function differently in that as well. That I don't think you can just say everything will be identical. Since you enjoy seeing a pussy, they will enjoy seeing your penis. Because I don't think that's. I think there's women who that
That's
is
not what
it
I
just
said.
doesn't. Well, no, you said you enjoy eating women out sexually, and it's therefore women would obviously also enjoy giving a blowjob. I don't. I think. I think it's true because.
I'm not saying all women, but you know, there have been times where I would be receiving this, and then oh wow, you're really wet. I haven't touched your body yet, apart from what you were doing, and you're absolutely soaking
Yeah,
wet.
so they have the expectation. It's like part of like it's here it comes. It's my turn's next.
I don't know that that's. I don't know that it's expectation based. I think it's legitimate enjoyment of the activity that was being going on, legitimate sexual enjoyment of the activity.
I don't know.
This is a weird conversation for
Well, no, because we're yeah, no, I'm just yeah. Maybe we probably need a female to, but it doesn't matter because women can't agree on this shit either. I've seen any
agreed,
podcast where
agreed.
they're honest, they all have different opinions on it. So there'll be if there's
Well,
a
we're
woman
we're
listening,
disagreeing. We're
yes,
disagreeing about our own, so of course they would
they would as well.
right? Like,
Exactly. That's what I'm
uh,
saying. There's no such thing as a
yeah,
singular solution. I mean, it was funny. We talk about this between me, you, and Evil. We all have different tastes in women. What we think is attractive. We could go
yeah,
into a bar, and I think all three of us would walk out with
yeah,
somebody, and there would be no conflict. We would
yeah.
have no like crossover. So it's varied. I think and that's the other thing. Ooh, we need it. Okay, You give me, you say something. I do want to bring up one other thing because it's something that this leads into something I was wanting to talk about. Not necessarily that we'll have come up with a conclusion. I just think it's interesting. God, I almost wish I could trick Ply into getting on somehow, but he just doesn't have internet. But talking about oh, gauging when you date somebody, gauging how you feel about them by thinking about how other people will think about you if you date them, like how they reflect back on you.
Yeah.
So go ahead and give yours take while I do something. Then I'll be right back. And I'll give you mine.
I believe what Preacher is referring to is something that I've expressed to him before, which is that I think that to some degree, the person that you are dating reflects to society your value, right? So, like, if you're a 5 and you're dating a 7, I think you're showing society, look, I am capable. I can do that, right? Be proud of me, or something like that, right? Or if you're a 5 and you're dating a 3, you're telling society, yeah, I don't know, whatever, you know. So I suppose, I've referenced to Preacher that I am a high school teacher, and a large degree of the power that I have over the students is for their desire to be like me, right? Their desire to be as I am. So
Mm-hmm.
they will act as I want them to. They will act like me to get where I'm at. And if I have an ugly girlfriend, right, they're not going to want to be like me as much. So I think that they should. I need a girlfriend that they would want to have themselves. That's what I think Preacher is referring
Yeah.
to.
So here's where I would go. I think everybody has different tastes. So you may think you're dating somebody you think is attractive in society. I won't think they're attractive. And so it's pointless for you to think society views you differently because they
I
don't
don't know
view
about
that.
that. I
Ah,
think that I think that taste accounts for a difference between like a 7 and an 8, or an 8 and a 9, or something like that, but
okay.
not between like a
Not like
3 and an
yeah,
8,
okay.
right?
No,
Like
I
they
agree. Yes,
uh,
yes, there are certain limits to that. I will.
like I'm not that into Asian women,
Yeah,
right? You tend to
I
enjoy the
am
Asian women,
very
right?
far on the Asian side. Yes.
And as a result of that, I think, but I can recognize that's a very attractive Asian, or
I get
that's a
that.
very
No,
unattractive
I
Asian.
agree
Right? That's
to a
all.
degree.
So
Maybe a
um,
7. I'll give you 2 points on the scale difference.
sure, I'll grant you two
Yeah.
points
Okay.
instead of I'll grant you that.
I agree with
But
that.
I think that
What?
you could point at a woman and be like, ah, yes, he did very well there,
Yeah.
or no, he did not.
And maybe it's because I look at it different. Because I look at the person I'm dating is for me. It's someone who gratifies and satisfies me.
Yeah,
And also because I have never thought about the person you dated. I've never thought about the person Plies dated, and been like, I am judging them different. I promise you, it has affected my view of you 0%.
I
And
believe you.
so, since I don't do that, I don't have that approach towards other people. I don't have it
I
for
do.
myself, and I know I get that.
I absolutely have that towards other people.
Yeah, and so I
I
wonder.
spend my days judging everybody.
Yes, well, I mean, we found it. The reason they all run away. No, I'm just kidding.
I was gonna make the same joke, right?
I knew you would take it as a joke too. I knew you would
Yeah,
understand that I was making
yeah.
the joke about it. But yeah, no, it's and that's why I
I
was
just
going to
want
talk.
people to make people better. That's
Yeah,
all.
I
I
get it.
want us to engage with the truths
But
about
don't you
life.
think that's part of the problem? Like that's what we're talking about. Women don't want to date someone who's on their level because they want to be seen as better than they are. It's kind of like why they want Gucci bags and everything else is because they
Sure.
want the
And
perception.
that's
And so it
and that's what I
sabotages
mean.
everything all the way down because it's like,
Yep. Yep. I that's what I mean when I say everyone should have a partner that can pull someone else, right? Like
right.
a desirable partner. That's one of the reasons I was telling the girl that I was just talking to.
So do the
As
ugly
soon
people
as
just never bang because they
I don't know, man. I don't know.
seems a little
It
elitist
happens
there.
with guys where um, when no women are into you, no women are into you at all. As
Hmm.
soon as one woman is into you, the clouds part,
Yep.
the rainbows shine, and every woman is, I want him now,
Yep.
right?
It's true.
Um, so I just think it's important that each one of the two can pull others and is desirable for the other person, for to have a healthy relationship. I suppose that ugly people would have to have a healthy relationship with no without that sexual component of mutual desire. Um, That's a great. Here we go. I don't know how ugly people desire each other sexually. You know what I mean? Like, here we
Yeah, but
go.
they do. But they do. I mean, I've seen them talk online, and they're like, "Oh, we fuck every day. It's great. Oh, orgasms."
Yeah.
And I'm like,
How do they do it? How do you know?
It's a different in person. I guess sex is sex, and some people. I mean, I see guys settle all the time, right? I'm like, dude, you could pull better, but they don't because it's sex, and it's a vagina, and they're happy. I don't, I guess maybe that is a psychological difference, right? Like some people, they don't need an elite, a certain level of attractiveness to be turned on, and maybe I'm not as much as you are. I can settle, I think, a little bit, at least within my scale. I can settle more than
I'm not
you
looking
can.
for like
But,
this extreme elite, just like something that I'm attracted to.
yeah, no, I
Right?
get
Like,
it. I get
that
it.
I think, yeah, that's nice, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want to make, so you refer to your women as that, not they. They're not humans. They're just objects. That's nice.
I was referring to like an
I
aspect
know.
of their
I'm
body
teasing.
or-
That's why I was
yeah,
making the
yeah,
joke.
yeah, right.
I just heard you say it. And I was like, oh, I bet you somebody's going to try to. Somebody could absolutely try to turn that. I mean, I
right.
fully understood what you were saying, but misogynistic. Gross. Curly haired, skinny ass motherfucker. Fucking fuck him, man. Nah, fuck him. Nah, I'm just kidding. Nah, I love you. Yeah, I mean, no, that's interesting. I guess, honestly, we've made it an hour, and we talked about everything under the sun.
I hope that first bit is still somewhere.
I think it's still made. I just think we truncated, like we summarized. We worked through it the first time, and then we just gave people the conclusions.
But I loved the working through.
I know,
Like,
I do
thought that
too.
was-
I do too. It sucks. It totally sucks that because I mean, you could tell I thought we were recording too because I was in there with you. But yeah, I don't know. It sucks. I'm sorry, everybody, but you know what? It's okay because I don't know if we would have gotten as much time on the second half, which I think was also interesting. How we're
We wouldn't have. Yeah, we would.
talking about women and sex, and people love that stuff anyway. So
I'm sure they'll really love hearing what we had to say about
oh,
it.
I'm sure two men talking about sex. That's who's
Two
ever heard of that?
men.
Two single men. Yeah. Very wise, sage, obviously very valuable opinions. But yeah, so I guess I'll close. Hey, please come back next week. Blah blah blah. Ply will be back next week, I think, unless he calls me and says he
I'll
broke his
still
leg.
Be here.
Yeah,
I'm sure I'll still be here. Don't listen to a word he says.
the plan is that Ply will be back.
I'll be here. Don't listen.
I will not let him talk about WWE or any of his personal excitement that he had, but that's for his own podcast. But anyway, no. I hope you guys please like and comment and stuff. That really actually helps the algorithm go, oh, people are engaging. We should show this to more people and see if they want to engage. So
Let us know your sexual exploitation.
sure, that's fine. Tell us your
desires.
penis size in the comments below. That's great. Do you have a vacuous vagina or is it nice and tight? Let us know in the comments below.
Is your perfect date involving a pocket pussy and an electric
Yes.
dildo?
Did that sound like a
Please
great
inform
idea
us.
to you?
Inform us.
Anyway, y'all have a good one. I'm going to switch this back over and turn back on the music for a little bit and give you an outro.